All right, so today I want to talk about the smile, okay? The smile and customer service and all that other shit, right? Uh I watch, at night to go to sleep, I watch something called ASMR, right? They call it autonomous sensory meridian response, right? Which kind of pertains to like parasympathetic responses based upon empathy that causes a tingling sensation you would say that Peter Parker would have in Spider-Man, right? I was watching, there's several artists. There's Kiwi, there's Rapunzel, right? Which I watched Rapunzel's video the last 2 nights. And I was just thinking this morning when I woke up, right? Partially sadistic. If you're going to fall asleep to a woman. You connotate that you're sleeping with somebody. But if you watch ASMR, right, it works the parasympathetic nerve based upon empathy, right? And I was just thinking when I woke up and I was like, Rapunzel, these ASMRists, they always have a great fucking attitude when they approach doing what they do. And I'm really into like hard work and shit. So they always approach what they're doing as a professional, but there's different professions, and this thing with ASMR is very engaging to a degree. It is a new style, if you will, if you're looking at it objectively of entertainment, because it is partially interactive. It requires kind of more from the viewer to pay attention to simplistic things so that they can calm their mind down, right? While activating the possibly emotional responses through empathy, activating the parasympathetic nervous system and causing a tingling sensation, all right? Knowing that we are bioelectric organisms, right? Because your heart and something with the SV valve, I'm not sure what it's called. It's called SV, right? You can look it up for the heart. It deals with something with the electricity, right? So you got your central nervous system and all that shit connected together. And just something based upon that is spiritual as empathy to prove intuition and other unseeable things that you may not witness, you can experience, but you can't prove this experience that you can. There's no scientific test thus far to be able to examine, the response for ASMR, at least not in the world that I live in. There are higher dimensions and what have you. I'm sure the Most High, he knows everything. But I mean, as far as what we have access to understand here. So you can't just make ASMR videos either. It's something that requires more from the creator or the content creator, and it requires also more from the viewer. And both of these things rely on each other, because if I don't pay attention a certain type of way as a viewer, then it's not gonna meet my interest. But if I apply a little bit of attentiveness to it, then I see the full benefit. No different than when I talk about things pertaining to the faith. For those who are outside of the faith, and for the many times of the depictions of faith, hearing people preach in movies to create the image of anything pertaining to God. Very preachy, therefore sounding, kind of boring at times. You know what I'm saying? Requiring a lot of attentiveness. You know what I'm saying? You apply a little bit of effort pertaining to faith and understanding, and the rewards that you reap from it, it's kind of like what is the saying? You get what you put into it. So this isn't typical entertainment, you know what I'm saying? This ASMR where you just can passively watch it. You can even passively watch it. But if you focus in just the right way, and for those who have been watching ASMR for a minute, you have learned how to maybe pay attention to things a certain type of way where it has an effect, or you could just watch it without paying attention, concentrating at a different frequency or level, you know what I'm saying, to where the effects that may typically cause you to relax and possibly become drowsy do not do the things that it typically would do. But irregardless, the content creator of these things, there is a lot of creativity and what have you required of them to be able to put these things together. You know what I'm saying? They have to do very creative things with the camera, understanding. It's kind of a mesh of Foley. If you know the film industry, Foley is after in post-production, after a film or a movie is produced, then the next thing that would happen is they would go into post-production. That's where you get the cool visual effects that people create in post on a computer in many cases, and also the Foley. Somebody comes back and they react that same movie, certain scenes, in order to provide you, sound effects to give you a fuller experience. These individuals are creating these, in their homes, and they have lighting, they have certain things that make sound effects, and Foley is very difficult. So you have a collage between sound design and visual effects coming together for the blessing of someone who watches YouTube. You know what I'm saying? This platform that's an open platform for the public and society. And the blindness of society is the fact that I know that ASMR is wine. Now, I'm pretty savvy with consulting, but like this right here, this is like a full-blown business that we even steep into the responses of the science industry and the whole nine. It's something that will totally help society, but the thing is their setback is like, there's not going to be any money that's going to be able to be drawn from this ASMR. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not something tangible where I can generate some type of lucrative response, as a third party, other than management and gratuity wages, 15, somewhere between 15 and 45%, some high range. I would stay around, 15 to 20% if you're an artist. That's about as high as you go, all right, for your own personal content. But the thing is it's a lot of creativity that goes into this, and it's brilliant. It's very intelligent, and even the likes of Hollywood have started to pick it up. But you have pioneers on there that's been doing it for a while. You know what I'm saying? Like Kiwa and Rapunzel and Calliope. You have individuals that are seasoned and experienced in this type of design and can be implemented into movies. I mean, it's pretty much endless, the amount of money that could be generated from making particular, these are sounds like in cameras. You could film regular and you could film something in macro So macro filming is like if you watch National Geographic or anything like that, and they film like insects and shit like that, and they got that cool close-up shot. Well, ASMR is this type of concentration that is borderline spectrum autistic, that when you hear something and you focus and hone in, it's almost like the bullet time of hearing. You know, when they rub the bristles across the edge of a desk or the camera, I don't know what they're doing, in order to create these sounds, but I can hear each, not bushel, but little, hair within the bushel or strand or polyfiber, whatever they comprise brushes out of. I can hear every flick of it going across the corner, and it relaxes my mind. Okay, so what I'm saying is, pertaining to movies, CSI films and things like that, this is a whole nother, possibly, catalog, because they're creating these at home, so that I know they're generating new sounds and new concepts, that can cross-marginalize not only with YouTube, but Hollywood and possibly any type of audio production, such as, even up to records and things of this nature, or background effects for plays, or even used for music. Who knows? Creating, possibly analog sounds and presenting an extra dimension, okay, to the viewer's experience, which makes it more immersive and interactive. You know what I'm saying? But not all of these things can necessarily be done in a digital type way, and that is how an individual approaches their job, how an individual approaches their work, right? So if someone comes into work, like take for instance, I could go to work. When I worked at Walmart, I could have good days and I can have bad days. You understand what I'm saying? And on the days that I'm not doing as well, I might not be able to hit home runs, right? Like I typically am able to do. I'm able to perform the job. I'm able to perform the job well, but I'm not able to perform at my typical proficiency for whatever reason or circumstance that day is not well. Well, individuals in entertainment, okay, don't get a break from this. Like Oprah Winfrey, she can't have a bad day because it's going to show on the camera, and for this to bringing it back to the ASMR, is the fact that these individuals, to have a platform in which they are entertainers to a degree and they create content, and it can cross genre, and they can't have a bad day. You know what I'm saying? Because as a viewer, even though they can have a bad day, you got to understand what I'm saying. They can't really show this on camera because this is a type of empathetic stimulation, okay, that provides for the viewer and their fan bases. So there is a lot more that they have to guarantee than the typical entertainer where you just passively watch. So this requires even more, okay, than Oprah. An emotional response, you know what I'm saying, in which they connect with their viewer, which pertains to isolated incidences of viewing that are not coinciding or happening at the same time that they film or post this content, meaning they film or they post it, and I may watch it later on that night, the next day, or a week from the time that they post it, and still get the same quality service, right? In which I feel those tingles, right? It's an interactive thing. It's a connective type of experience, provided empathy. So what I'm saying is it requires more of them. And I was just thinking about how difficult that would be for me because I'm not the smiliest person. You understand what I'm saying? And the amount of consideration, you can tell these individuals have big hearts, caring hearts and things like that. And they got to have a bit of nerdiness to them, which is pretty attractive. That's pretty cool because the world I live in, people don't think. You understand? They just kind of go with the flow or whatever. So these type of qualities and even these type of individuals, I have found out, basically don't exist in this world. It's no way. They have to be provided. They have to be in a completely different realm. Statistically, we're at a 0% out here with individuals that think that way, unless these individuals have been cultivated through a feedback response of being in a relationship with somebody maybe that they met or engaged in. But in a free world environment, if one is just walking around, samurai style, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? If you a wild one, you know what I'm saying, and haven't been domesticated, then this is not what's really out here. So for those who are married or have girlfriends or things like this, don't get too twisted up. And the things that I say, I just point out reality based upon my personal experience and perspective to give you insight of society and civilization. It's really to help, not to hurt. And I'm saying if you have something good and you're in a good relationship, make sure you stay there, or don't let the things that I say break you apart, but rather utilize the information that you could be brought together because you have insight and understanding. This isn't me throwing stones at individuals and what they do either. You know what I'm saying? I was the person who started out saying, I ain't fucking dying till I get some fucking leg. I know everybody was trying to kill me and shit, but I was like, well, I get a fucking last meal, dude. Like, if I don't get my shit, I don't care what's going on. I will figure out how to survive. And that's what it is. Everybody deserves a last meal, man. But anyways, I'm sorry. I say all that to bring it back to this. One of the human needs is affection, right? There's 5 base human needs, and one of them is affection. Now, if my family shunned me, and all my friends have shunned me or stabbed me in the back, you know what I'm saying? And I mean all of them. All of them did that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, if that is the case, you know what I'm saying? I had to get my affection from somewhere, right? Now, pornography is sugar. Pornography is actually sugar, because when you go and you fuck around with pornography, it's not actually, well, if you're quirky like me, it's not actually what it's not actually what you're looking for. That's not what you're looking for. And so therefore, you gather an empty calorie. You see what I'm saying? The ASMR, which they're starting to cross genre between there and the porn industry, which might be a good thing, because honestly, it will level out that depravity if you have a void in your soul to where you're just like a broke down radio flyer going down fucking hill, continually looking at that shit. It's gonna hollow you out in a bad way. Okay? So ASMR could be a possible strong leverage, because individuals really, instead of going after such things, they really need the other form, another form of affection, which that's what I said. I went on YouTube. It was because I had insomnia, and I utilized it to help me fall asleep. Probably about 10 years ago, I started watching it, right? Maybe more. Might be. We'll just round up, say 15, right? I started watching it, and it would knock me out. And I was grateful because I could get some sleep. But then there are other uses for it, like if I get upset because you gotta do war with the world and everything like that, then you know what I'm saying? I could watch that. And instead of retaliating and doing something careless, you know what I'm saying? I was able to quell a lot of that. So there's many different uses, also medicinal uses for ASMR as well. You know what I'm saying? But my point is, my base affective need for those in psychotherapy, so on and so forth, they can use ASMR at times, you know, for to be in a tranquil state of peace. So what I'm saying is, these individuals are very talented to where they can, each time that they produce content, they can meet with that camera and come with that type of quality and connectiveness to interact with individuals that are not there. These are already prime candidates for 3D virtual reality supplication, in which they can be utilized as an interactive base, either for AI or otherwise, to interact with individuals that are not around. Right? Combined with AI in years, you could totally see the situation with Blade Runner, starring Ryan Gosling, the recent one, you know, where I think he was like dating like the Olga, it's an actor named Olga. Her last name starts with a K. I'm not gonna butcher it, but she was like an AI interactive, like android or hologram, right? So if you combine these two things together, you know, with the 4K graphics and the 3D TVs and things like that, then, I mean, essentially, it is a very realistic future that is presented on Blade Runner. But getting back, again, on this topic of ASMR is, these individuals can't have a bad day. They have to approach with that same feeling and care. They really have to provide it. And I'm a discerner. You could say in your world, you would consider me to be maybe a skeptic even. So I can tell if something is not, you know, all the way there, or the commitment is not all the way there. And they commit to this production, you know, every so often, and they upload, and they're always bringing 100% each time to the camera. So I know that their work ethic is very excellent. And it left me to wonder, like, when I was younger, I used to see people smile more. You see what I'm saying? But, you know, if humans approach life the same way that they would approach uploading videos, meaning those in-between moments when nothing's going on, and you go outside, then you know what I'm saying? If human beings approach it the same way, then we would possibly smile more and be more considerate. And smiles are interesting because they communicate a lot of things. Like, a smile could be just as threatening as it can be welcoming, depending on who or why or how you're receiving that smile. It can be. You understand what I'm saying? You know, such as a smirk or what have you. If individuals are basically, like, for me, if somebody smiles and they don't really mean it, I generally, you know, depending on how I perceive that smile, if you're trying to be friendly and you give me a fake smile, then that's going to cause me to get upset because you're coming off as being sarcastic, so on and so forth. But imagine if this was a requirement at a job. Let's say that, you know, because you had to be polite to customers and things of this nature. Let's say that you had to smile also. What if that was on the job description? How many individuals would decline that job that pays really well, okay, because it's required that they had to smile for the job? And I know for a fact that I would, because I'm not a smiley individual. And smiling is a big part of customer service that, when I was younger, I used to be like a lot attendant or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Certain companies would want you to smile to their clients for a job. And I just kind of felt like that wasn't in the job description, that I had to smile for anyone. I performed my job better than average, and I did all the things that I was supposed to do as required. But the fact of the matter is, the company still complained, my manager still complained, we want you to smile at the clients, this, that, and whatever. So I'm thinking I should ask for a raise, because there are full-blown professions in which individuals have to fucking smile, right? Like fucking models and shit like that. When they get on camera, they make them smile for 6 hours, and they get paid just for fucking smiling. I fucking am not a smiley Negro. You know what I'm saying? I don't fucking particularly like smiling. If something is funny, I'll laugh, but I'm not laughing all the fucking time. This thing is, in society, is expected out of black men because people are intimidated of black people. They don't want to come face to face with the realization that they have phobias or unnecessary fears. So that's what it is. If then would we have how would it break society if in order to get a job it was required that you smile to your clients, and would that be revolved in the interview that if an interviewer does not like your smile over another individual's smile, then you can't get that fucking job. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, would that be considered discriminatory? And would that factor in to corporations and companies? But is that not also a necessary requirement? As in what I'm explaining to you here with this ASMR, how they approach their work 100% every single time, you know what I'm saying, to produce a quality product, such the same, you know what I'm saying, would one expect of a company. However, this is why I do jobs like night stock or stocking cans or something, because I'm not a customer service ass Negro. I know I don't really fuck with that shit. You know what I'm saying? I will do work, but I know that smiling is a fucking thing. It is, man. So, I guess this is an awareness type of video about something that can help you. If you're an ASMR artist, maybe you could use some of that as consultation to maybe market yourself or break into industries. If you're an industry, you could realize something about ASMR. I can help everybody but myself, right? Here's the deal, man. And a little topic about discrimination and how deep does that discrimination go pertaining to different things? You know what I'm saying? How deep does that go? And would that be a superficial thing? Some people do got better smiles than other people. I'm gonna be 1,000%. That's a whole profession. And is that profession discriminatory? Casting and what have you? Where those certain actors get jobs and certain actors don't? Certainly all of these things, a lot of it is based on superficial means. Not all of it, but a lot of it is. Are these things considered discriminatory? And how can you regulate that? It's just something to think about, man. But anyways, I talked on here longer than I wanted to. And I wanted to talk about smiles. And, I had to segue into that through ASMR. And smiles, you know what I'm saying, are an interesting thing. And do we discriminate as individuals and people, individuals that we cross by superficial means and measures? You understand what I'm saying? So these are just some enlightening things for this fucked up world that I can't stick my dick in. Peace and blessings be with you all. I'm out.